Qualification day!
Qualification day! Welcome to the awards podium area for the World Rowing Championships here in Belgrade, Serbia. We had an incredible day 5 of semifinals. So there were tons of boats that qualified for the Olympics. So here's what happened today.
You like that? You like that? There you go. Oh, it was fucking hot. Hey, let's drop that.
Started off the day with the women's pairs, Romania, Ireland, and Chile. Huge for Chile. Australia, Netherlands, and the USA have qualified for the A final, which means they are going directly to Paris for that boat class. Love that. The Lithuanians, Spanish, British, Greeks, Czech, and Italians will fight out for the last remaining spots in the B final. They just have to not get last. We'll see how those go. So the men's pairs, we had Great Britain, Switzerland, and the USA, Romania, Ireland, and South Africa. Holy, that was fun to watch. Evan and Bill just crushed it. Super happy for them to even get to the A final. Insane. And then for a shout for a medal, what's not to love? Then the Irish lads getting through. John Smith, former lightweight, qualifying the boats again in the pair. What is happening? Then we went on to the women's light doubles with Great Britain, Romania, China, Canada, New Zealand, and the USA. That second semifinal was a barn burner through to the end. The Irish just missed out, and it was 4 boats across all the way through. Such great racing this whole week, but today was so intense. So in the light women's doubles, they have to get top 7, so you have to go and win the B final if you want to qualify for Paris. So we'll see if the Irish can do that. Well, you've got the French in there as well, the Italians, like some big named boats back in the B final. So we'll see how this goes. Then we moved on to the men's light doubles with Ireland, the Czech, and Norway, Switzerland, Italy, and Spain. In the B final, we will have Mexico, Belgium, not Belarus, Belgium, Poland, China, New Zealand, and Germany. The Germans flipped somewhere in the beginning of the course. So Tokyo silver medalist Johnny Roman will have a hell of a time in the B final. I know him and Niels will be going after it. Then we move on to the women's fours, where only the top 7 are going to Paris, so you would need to win the B final at the least. The Dutch, Romanians, and Australians, the British, Americans, and the Chinese into the A final. Then we moved the New Zealand, Polish, Germans, Danish, Irish, and Canadians down to the B final, so that'll be a tough race. Then we move on to the men's fours. We had the USA, Netherlands, and French, British, Kiwis, and the Australians making it through. I am so excited to see the US versus the GB boat. That is going to be a hell of a race. Then the Italians, Ukrainians, Danish, Romanians, Swiss, and the South Africans are off to the B final to see who can win that. Then we move on to the women's quads, where you need also top 7. We had the Dutch, the Chinese, and Romanians, as well as the British, Swiss, and Australians. Into the B final is Canada, France, Italy, Ukraine, Germany, and the USA. Here's to hoping, after a really tough headwind of a day, it's gorgeous out right now, that, you know, the conditions will be a little bit more favorable to people like the in-betweeners, the lightweights-ish of the USA. Then we move on to the men's quads. Same thing. We've got the Polish, Italians, and Germans, and the Dutch, British, and the Swiss in the A final. Then Ukrainians, Norway, and USA, Romania, Estonia, and Australia in the B final, fighting for that final spot. Then we moved on to some non-Olympic boat classes, the men's and women's light singles. Poland, France, and Austria over Algeria, USA, and Iraq, and the Swiss, Italian, and Hungarian over the Spanish, South African, and Japanese rowers in the light men's singles. In the light women's singles, we had Ireland, Mexico, and Netherlands over GB, Switzerland, and Japan. Then it was the US, France, and Romania over Poland, Italy, and Norway. Huge ups to Sophia Lewis for crushing her final. It was terrible conditions the entire day, so the lightweights were struggling out there because the race was probably a minute and a half longer than usual. So huge ups to them for dealing with it and getting themselves into the A final. So that was the morning racing done. Then we moved on to the afternoon's semifinals, which was the CD semifinals. We started off with the PR1 men's single with Tunisia, South Africa, and the neutral athlete beating Austria and the Czech, and then USA, Kazakhstan, and Hungary over the Argentinian. So they'll be moving on to the C final, and the rest will be moving on to the D final. And that's places 13 through 18 and then 19 plus. So then we had the men's light single, Denmark, Slovenia, and neutral athlete over Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Ireland, then Belgium, Germany, Mexico over Norway, New Zealand, and Finland. So reading all the country codes and trying to remember which the actual name is, it's been very difficult. In the women's single, we had Spain and El Salvador over Finland, and Croatia, New Zealand, and Serbia over Angola. Then we continued moving on with the men's singles. We had Belgium, Portugal, and Australia over Spain, Sweden, and Canada. Brazil, Monaco, Hungary over Uruguay, the US, and Shuttlebush did not race, so he did not start on here. Then we had the women's singles of Uzbekistan, Japan, and the neutral athlete 2 over the French, Czech, and Slovenians, China, Norway, and Romania over the Italian, Ukrainian, and British. Then we moved on to the women's light doubles. Austria, Germany, and Spain over Egypt, and then Australia, Denmark, and Tunisia over Peru. Then we moved on to the men's light doubles. We had the Australian, Uruguay, and Estonia over Uzbekistan, Egypt, and the French did not start. Then we had the Greeks, Turkey, and Portugal over the USA, Ukraine, and Austria. It is another very tough row for Zach and Jimmy, so hopefully they can go and have a great end of their regatta in the D final. Not what they wanted, but I guess we're going to FOQR again. Let's go, boys. And then we move on to the women's pairs semi-final for the CD. We had the neutral athlete, Canada, Denmark over France. Then we had Paraguay, New Zealand, and Germany over China and the Polish. Moved on to the men's pairs. We had the neutral athletes 1, China and Germany over the Czech, Canada and Slovenia, Serbia, Lithuania, and France over the Netherlands, Hungarians, and Polish. And in the men's doubles, we had Poland, Serbia, and the Czech over Cuba, Australia, and Bulgaria. And in the second semifinal, we had USA, Sweden, Lithuania over the Greeks, Belgians, and South Africans. A little bit of a shock to see Ben and Soren in the C final, but they just didn't seem to have a good piece. Hopefully they're both healthy, and if they stick together, see them crushing FOQR next May. So here's to hoping. Then we move on to the women's doubles semi-final CD with Canada and Poland over the Czech, and then Great Britain, Germany, and Switzerland over the Greeks. That was all the semifinals done for today. And then we had the smallest of finals. We had a final H the first time. If there were going to be any more than 48 entries, they would have to technically go to time trials for the men's single. That's how many boats there are, and that's in the rules. It's not just oh, we should do time trials. It's in the rules to do time trials because you cannot host that many races. I mean, they've had 30 races this weekend, it feels like. Starting to get eaten by all the mosquitoes. The mosquitoes are so freaking bad here. David Breen and I have been complaining about them all the time. So in final H of the men's singles, we had Benin, Sudan, Barbados, and Angola. And then final G, we had Paraguay, Bermuda, Cote d'Ivoire, Georgia, Libya, and El Salvador. Then in final F, we had Tunisia, Slovenia, Egypt, Finland, Zimbabwe, and China. In final E, we had the neutral athlete 1, Azerbaijan, Turkey, Cyprus, Mexico, and Israel. And the women's final E, we had Poland, Turkey, Latvia, Peru, and Togo. And the final race of the day, women's single, final F, we had Kuwait and Bahrain. Yeah, okay, I'm starting to get eaten pretty bad. Sun's down. Thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. On to another day of semifinals tomorrow. Paris qualifications. Lots of boats that are going to be very happy, and lots of boats are going to be fighting into the B final yet again. So that's it from Belgrade tonight. See you tomorrow.